last 5 years. You look at his last 2 years in Indy and see what happened. You look at his 2 years in OKC and see what happened. Look at last year at the Clippers and see what happened. Playoff P. Now we talking about regular season. We hyped about the regular season. You played good in the regular season last year. Your last year in OKC, Skip, he finished third in the MVP. But what did he do come playoff time? Russ out there balling out of his mind, got 44, 45. Paul George showed up with either I got 5 on you, Russ. Gave him 5 points. So that's what I need to see, Skip. But the credit to the thing that I love most about sports, Skip, is it's different than most jobs. And they say you should update your resume probably every 6 months to a year, maybe every 2 years. But in pro sports and basketball, 3 or 4 times a week, you can update your resume, Skip. And so thus far this year, he's updating his resume. But I need to see this guy. The guy that I'm seeing right now through the first 6 or 7 games, I need to see that guy come playoff time. And then me and Paul George will be able to sit down and have a conversation. Now, you can be mad about the media all you want to, but we not calling you a soft ass you know what. That's your peers. So you got to convince them. You got to convince me. Hell, I ain't nobody, Skip. I ain't never put on no gym shorts and got on the NBA court. Convince those guys, because those are the guys that's talking to you sideways. They ain't never say that about KD. They don't say that about Kobe. They don't say that about Bron. They say that about you. They might not like Bron. They might not like Kobe. They might not like Shaq and all those other guys. But they don't say no soft you know what. So you convincing me, you better go convince them guys that you going up against.
So, Pandemic P has become the easiest target in all of sports right now. He is subject to ridicule on the internet the way almost nobody is, because everybody's ready to pounce when he does anything wrong. See, it's playoff, as you called it, P-E-E, right? Okay, I know it's early. I know we're only 7 games in. But I would like to remind everyone that the Los Angeles Clippers now lead the Western Conference. It's a 5-2 record, but the reason they lead is they're tied with the Lakers and Phoenix, and they have beaten the Lakers and Phoenix. I would like to remind everyone that if you did, for whatever reason, call off the rest of the season and vote for an MVP right now, I believe it would be Paul George, because I think the numbers are sensational, what he's done. He has played unbelievably well so far, up against odds of trash talk and internet ridicule that are, they're brutal, they're devastating. And now, as he says, everywhere I turn, somebody's trash talking me on the court about you ain't you know what. Right? Okay, did he bring that upon himself? Yes, he did last year. I got it. But he continues to say, you guys had me last year because I was coming off 2 shoulder surgeries. And I started with a new running mate on a new team. And so it was a struggle to stay on the court and to figure each other out. Then they hit the bubble, and what happened to Paul George? Well, he openly admitted, and I had trouble.
He was dealing with some things.
I struggled. I had depression. I had anxiety. I didn't like it there. I was incredibly unhappy. I needed some counseling, and he was very open-hearted about it. And the guys on TNT, the whole crew, they were all over him about it, because you can't show, they said, that kind of weakness in the bubble in the playoffs. And to your point, when it was winning time, he was losing. And Kawhi wasn't much better, but he was a little better. But obviously, they put themselves in a power position, up 3-1 on Denver. And every night, they were a 7 or 8 point favorite over the Denver Nuggets. And I keep saying they were a little higher favorite over the Nuggets than the Lakers were when they played the Nuggets. And yet, they could not close with a 12-point lead and a 15-point lead and a 19-point lead. They could not close 3 straight games. And he was a culprit, certainly. Kawhi was, certainly in Game 7, he probably worse.
Kawhi was awful the other night, too.
Okay? But they are still 5-2. And if I look at these numbers, he has, I know it's early, but his PER is a career best 25. He's averaging a career best 25 points a game. He's shooting a career best 51% from the field, a career best 49% from 3. And by the way, he's made 33s. That leads the NBA so far. That'll work. Obviously, He shot you guys out of the gym on opening night, right?
He was the sole reason that they won.
He scored 33 on opening night and made 5 out of 8 threes against the
But let me ask you a question, Skip. How many games we going to have like what he had against Dallas, where he scores 15, they go 0 for 6 from the three-point line, and lose by 51?
Okay.
How many of those are we going to throw in there?
Yeah, no Kawhi that night.
But that's the time that, hold on. If you're not what they call you, that's when you show up and do dirt.
But
you
as he
do
said,
your work.
They had done their work because they had beaten the Lakers and they went to Denver and they throttled Denver on its home court.
What I tell you.
And by the way, Kawhi got hurt in that game, as you know, late in there is maybe 6 minutes left, and Paul George took them home. And he was really good in that game because he had 9 assists and 5 out of 9 from 3. Okay, that'll work.
Right.
And then he said they were given Christmas Day, the day after Christmas, when they went home, and they just took the afternoon. Remember, they had early tip, a 12:30 p.m. tip here, obviously, and they didn't show up. Okay, I'm going to give him that one because he's been so extraordinary. He came back against Portland, had 23, 10, and 7. And then at Phoenix the other night, he scored 39 and also had 2 steals and a block because he can defend at a high level.
Yeah, but Skip, in all your years of covering, you know how this works. Pro sports is predatory behavior.
It is.
We find the weak link.
Yep.
We find the weak link on who we believe is weak.
Yep.
Even in the All-Star game, what they say? We going at James Harden because we believe he's weak on the defensive end. Well, we going at Luka Doncic. What did Kyle Kuzma say? That's predatory behavior.
We pass the ball to whoever Luka
You find the weak link, Paul George. They believe you weak because, look, I'm not saying you weak, but that's the way it's being, that's what the players in the NBA, that's how they perceive you for opening up and being honest about what you were dealing with. Now, he seems to be in a good headspace. He got engaged this summer.
He did.
He seems to be very, very happy with where he is right now, and I'm happy for him. But all this regular season doesn't mean anything. You gave yourself the name Playoff P, not regular season P. So we need to see we need to see this guy right here in the playoffs. Then you can start to quell some of those voices by calling you soft and saying, oh, you're not what you think.
Okay, I got it. And I am with you on this. I just like where he's heading. I like his new body language. I like what he's saying in response. You guys had me last year, but I'm back now, and I'm happy now. I'm good.
Skip, you remember?
I'm healthy.
Skip, you remember how he came back last year, the first couple of games, either 35, 36 points? He was just lighting people up. In the playoffs, Skip, that's what you make it, Skip. The regular season, every great player, when you look at Magic, Kobe, Shaq, LeBron, it's all about the playoffs.
Okay, I got it. What have I always told you about that guy? Occasionally I've called him Paul George. It's George Paul, right? He is a complimentary superstar, but he is a star.
Yeah.
And this team will go as far as Kawhi Leonard takes this team ultimately, but I believe that he will be there. And I think he is trustable in the playoffs as a complimentary star. Is he going to have an off night? Yes, he is. They all do. Everybody
of course.
Okay.